Good morning, good morning, good morning. And damn, Gwen, 40 months. Damn. Thank you so much. That popped up. I said, oh no, I got to acknowledge my girl here. I definitely have to acknowledge that. Oh my God, Gwen, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And she has really been a voice of reason to me too. She is very observant, very, very observant. Good morning, Juspito. Good morning, Marcia, Wisco Gal, Aaron. Good morning, Sweet Potato, Party Rock. Good morning, Gamecock Jenny, Chantel, Bree. Good morning, Drea, sweetie. I know you have to work. Ah, good morning, Mr. Jimenez. Yes, I had to share her story. TikTok keeps taking it down. And this morning I was cruising the TikTok streets and I found it again. So I had to post it so you guys can see this is not just stranger. This was within the home. The step grandfather started abusing this child at 5 years old. And every time she puts it up, it'll stay up for like a day, and then TikTok yanks it down. So today I said, oh no, let me record this real quick so we can share her story. Good morning, Sarah motherfucking Z. Good morning, my Just Beto. Oh, Chantel, I'm sorry. I was just listening to your new prime minister, Chantel. Good morning, Wendy's front yard. I was just listening to your prime minister. I just got off the phone talking with my sisters. My sister's birthday is coming up, and we just made plans for her trip. So I have to grift, guys. I got to grift. I need money to go on my trip. And I expect all of you to help me. Well, I don't expect it. I demand it. Let me stop. But I do have a goal set. Let me stop. Let me stop. Let me stop. It is raining here. We had some snow flurries again, but now it's just raining. It never rains during the summer. Really rarely rains here during, yes, Mark Carney. I'm going to play exactly, what he had to say this morning because they're making a deal with Australia. It really never rains here during the summer, maybe once, twice. And what summer is for us is like uh, July, August, and then September comes and everything changes. Hi, Aesop. So you're you're demanding $5. Okay, Chantel, I'll send you $5. I need your cash app. I need to get you some halls, or you're gonna need some medicine for your foot. So let me just speak on this real quick. Lisa, our favorite crackhead, had court for her son. And oh, before I go to there, I have a live set today at 6. I'm going to change it to 4:15 because I have an appointment at 6 o'clock. So, and I've already changed it twice, and I really can't change it again. So I just had a conversation with Lindsay. We're going to move it to 4:15 today, which will be 4:15 Eastern, and it's 1:15 Pacific time, and 3:15 Central. So I'm going to move that as soon as I get off here. I need to remember. But Lisa had court this week on the 18th, so she can get her son back. Well, not get her son back. She had to go to court so they can terminate her parental rights for her last child. The week before, she was begging for clothes because she didn't have any clothes to go to court, which she put up this email showing that the caseworker had sent her, uh, the things that she needed to do. Now, she herself said that the judge sets the date when they're in court. So, how can the caseworker send you an email 40 minutes before your court time with everything that you needed to do? Again, a lie, a big lie. Okay. Um, So this week, she was begging for clothes last week, said she didn't go because she didn't have any clothes. Then she said they didn't have any court. This week, she was given clean clothes to go to court and money to go to court, and she never did. But she came online to beg for hoagies and smokes. Lisa has lost all four of her children. Four of them. So she got angry because Fraud of the Reaper put her shit out. She goes live and said that Fraud of the Reaper faked cancer, and that her daughter was pretending to be, her son was pretending to be, well, her daughter was pretending to be transgender. Not true. Frauded never faked cancer, according to her. She had cancer, and she was looking for help. I don't know if she had cancer or not. I'm only going by what she said. But instead of doing the things that they set for her when Jace was taken in May, she had 10 months to start working and getting herself together. She lied and said she had an interview at Family Dollar or Dollar Tree. Never did, because she said she had no clothes to wear. This was last week. So how are you interviewing with stained surgical pants and you have no clothes to wear? Lisa has been scamming online since I came across her. It's been a year. And before then, I found out she's been on Facebook and she was kicked off. So about 3.5 years, she's been scamming for money. Lisa never wants to help herself. She doesn't want anything except for to keep coming online and lying and scamming. She went to Patreon and wants to charge people. Ambrius, thank you so much. And wants to charge people $19.99 and $29.99 so she can go on Patreon and beg. Now, I heard that her Patreon was taken down, but then yesterday when she went live, she said she needed to do a live on Patreon. If she is on Patreon, which I need to go look, I will report her just like I've been reporting her on YouTube. Good morning, Savage. Great live last night. Great live. I've reported her on YouTube. I will continue, and I report every video where there's a lot of cursing, a lot of stuff. I keep reporting her. She's a scammer. She's a liar. She wants nothing but to get on there. Hi, guys. Oh, hold on. Hi, guys. I'm okay. Yeah, well, I'm not doing too good. Um, this lady was supposed to send me money, and then we were talking and she never sent it. And you bitch, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna put all your shit out. Ooh, yeah, boy, I will. Hi, Lexi. How are you, sweetie? So this is what she does. It's always someone else's fault that she's not getting the money that she's looking for. She's a scammer. She's a user. And these women that think they're helping her, they're not. She had black soot, like we've seen before, on her face yesterday, but she said it was ashes. Her teeth are black from the pipe. That's why when she goes live now, she's in the dark. She keeps saying she's in her room. She has no room. That is a 1-bedroom house. That's it. A 1-bedroom house. Hi, don't say much. Good morning. Her brother doesn't work. He sits home and plays games all day. First, she said, so Frauditor put out where she and her dad both had court on the 18th. Okay. Lisa's thing is she said she passed out and she was in the hospital. Now, if anybody knows Lisa, she would be showing that hospital bracelet. She'll be going live from the hospital to show you she was there. We know that's a lie. Then she said that Frauditor had pulled up the wrong thing for her dad. Well, yesterday she says, well, her dad didn't go to court because he was in a hospital. Her dad is not in a hospital. Her dad is not in the hospital. This woman is sick, and people that keep believing her. But her excuse is she can't put up proof because she keeps being reported. No, if you put up the proof and you prove that you're telling the truth, who's gonna report it? Who will report you? No one. She's a liar. That's it. She's a liar. But also let's get there's an active shooter right now, which now that I just saw the active shooter was caught. So this was in York, but we're going to look at what is going on in the news. And this one was sent to me yesterday, and I had no idea this case was going on. But remember, I was telling you I was watching this thing where all this money to feed the homeless, and they were caught throwing all this food in the dumpster. Well, this case reminds me of this, and I want you to pay attention. This was doing C-19, and we have some stories that we're going to share about some sad shit that's dealing with kids. I know a lot of you can't hear it and can't listen to it, but this is happening every day, and that's why I try to cover it. So here we go.
A verdict this morning in a massive case of fraud. Hundreds of millions of taxpayer dollars that was supposed to help children in need was stolen. It was a 6-week trial, but the jury needed only 5 hours to decide the fate of the woman held responsible. A jury in Minnesota has found the ringleader of what's been called the largest pandemic-era fraud scheme in the country guilty on all charges. Amy Bach, the founder of Feeding Our Future, now convicted of that stole nearly $250 million from a federal program meant to feed children in need.
Her efforts to lie, to blame others, to escape responsibility, all
oh my
came to
God,
an end.
don't
What
say
Bach
much. Thank
and her
you.
co-defendants did was reprehensible.
Bach, along with co-defendant Salim Saeed, convicted on conspiracy, wire fraud, and bribery charges. They're 2 of 70 defendants accused of falsifying meal counts, invoices, and attendance rosters, claiming to have served food to thousands of kids per day across Minnesota, all to get reimbursed with hundreds of millions of taxpayer dollars.
These are criminals that preyed on a system that was meant to feed children.
Instead of feeding children, Bach and Saeed allegedly created dozens of shell companies to receive the money and launder it, all to fund their lavish lifestyles, buying luxury cars and real estate. Authorities so far have recouped only $60 million of the $250 million stolen.
We just need to make sure that we put up more firewalls, more security, more ability to make sure that these criminals aren't able to prey on this.
Both are held without bail, expected to face substantial prison time when they're sentenced.
200 and see, this was I was just watching, but we'll talk about that later. $250 million that was supposed to feed kids. They spent on luxury cars, jewelry, real estate. Do we see this? Hi, Queen of O'Hara. Good morning. I never heard about this until this was brought to my attention yesterday. This trial lasted what? 6 weeks? Never heard of it. Never heard of it. Probably because I'm watching a lot of murder trials and stuff. But this is crazy. You stole money from children. Let me call out the memberships. So don't say much. Donated memberships to the channel. Just Beetle received a membership. Michelle M. It's me, Missy Tessa, and Just Me and Sandy Smith. Thank you. Don't say much. Really, really appreciate it. And so let's just get down to the nitty gritty here. We have 2 stories. 2 stories that's going to be about children. One story is 3 minutes long. The other, well, 3 minutes and 3 seconds. The other one is 3 minutes and 2 seconds. This is going on in our schools every day. It's, yeah, there's a lot of people like everybody that took out those PPP loans. Come on now. Come on. All right, let's go to, this is a Downer Grove teacher. Let me add, hi Muggsy. Let me add that she's a special ed teacher. Special ed teacher that took advantage of a student. And now she's saying she was set up, but you're going to see the text messages between the teacher and the student. So I don't know what she means she was set up, because there are text messages that shows what was going on. Here we go.
UGN News at 9.
Good evening, I'm Micah McCare.
And I'm Ben Bradley in for Reporter Passy. A Downers Grove South High School teacher and soccer coach now facing felony charges. She's accused of having sex with a student, but claims she's being set up.
WGN's Brona Tumulty joins us from Downers Grove with details. Brona.
Good evening. That teacher was released by a judge this morning following arraignment on 2 conditions. She is not allowed on the school grounds and not allowed any contact with anyone under the age of 18. Officials with the district making a brief statement about the matter tonight.
This morning we learned that a DGS teacher was arrested and detained by law enforcement.
Don Renner, president of the Board of Education of Community High School District 99, speaking this evening in Downers Grove. That teacher he's talking about is 30-year-old Christina Formella, now charged with aggravated criminal sexual abuse and assault. Formella started with Downers Grove South High School in 2020 in the Special Services Department, joining the coaching staff of both the boys and girls soccer teams in August of 2021.
We are heartbroken for the victim and also for the hundreds of students, staff, and family who trusted this teacher and feel betrayed by this terrible situation.
The victim at the centre of this scandal is a current student who came to the police station on Saturday with his mother to file a report. Per court documents, explicit text messages surfaced, which the teenager says were between himself and Formella. He alleges a flirtatious relationship resulted in sex once in December of 2023 in one of the classrooms. He was 15 when that allegedly happened. Formella would have been 28.
Our top focus now is to support the victim and their family.
After taking Formella into custody yesterday, it's understood a lengthy notes entry obtained on her iPhone appears to reference a relationship with the teen, stating amongst other things, we will never ever be together again. I'm not a second choice. Really? I'm the best thing you'll ever have, even with all of my mistakes. They didn't have a relationship. No, they didn't. This is made up. Ever be together again. I'm not a second choice. I'm the best thing you'll ever have, even with all of my mistakes. Formella adamantly denies having sex with the victim, telling detectives, per those court documents, that everybody comes after her because she is good looking and she is just a good person who cared to. That sounds like the teacher in Texas that says she was too gorgeous to go to jail after molesting a student. Much, whilst reportedly adding she knew her relationship was wrong, but was unable to stop it. So they didn't have a relationship. She's being set up. They did not have a relationship, guys. Not at all. Now, when questioned further about the text messages on the victim's phone, Formella alleges in court documents that the student accessed her phone and sent the messages to himself as blackmail. The school reiterating tonight. Well, how did he access her phone? How did he do that? How did he do that? Reaching out to families whose children had direct contact with Formella. She, meanwhile, has been placed on administrative leave with pay and is due back in court on the 14th of April. Well, live tonight in Downers Grove. Brona Tumulty, WGN News. Where's the other teacher?
But first, a middle school teacher from Montgomery County was just arrested. accused of trying to sexually assault one of his students. The district attorney says the investigation started after the teacher showed the 13-year-old student disturbing messages. This is the 10 o'clock news. I'm Jason Martinez.
I'm Sheba Russell. As Steve Keeley reports, investigators say that student immediately told the school and her father.
Is deplorable.
Tonight, parents in Norristown upset after learning from both the school district and district attorney that 57-year-old John Richards lost his career as a school science teacher at Norristown's Blackson Middle School after losing his freedom for a time, turning himself in here to Norristown Police, where he was then taken to court to face felony sexual charges involving his actions toward a 13-year-old female student.
To hear this news, I have 3 children myself. My daughter's 13. The young lady involved is around the same age.
Richards or none of his family.
He was put on administrative leave with pay. With pay after being arrested, posting bond, and released. She's still getting paid for a relationship she says she didn't have, and the student accessed her phone and sent those to himself. Now, how would that student get a hold of your phone? And let's remember, they didn't say in this news clip that I showed that this relationship had been going on for a while. So it wasn't just one message on one day, okay?
Appeared home when Fox 29 News sought his side of the story tonight. Neighbors say the teacher has lived here at his Newtown Square home with his wife and children for about 10 years. He taught at Blackson Middle School since...
He has wife and kids, and he was being sexually explicit with a 13-year-old child. 13 years old.
2016, his LinkedIn bio says. That is now over, the school superintendent says in this statement. There is no place in Norristown Area School District for someone facing serious criminal charges of mistreatment of a student. We have been in constant contact with law enforcement throughout their investigation and are confident there are sufficient grounds for termination of this employee.
So he's terminated. Hi, Tracy. He's terminated. But the female teacher at the other school is put on administrative leave with pay. Are we kidding? After being arrested, we are still keeping her on administrative leave. This man has been terminated.
The district attorney's criminal complaint details evidence supporting Richard's charges, showing text messages like, "When I see you, my heart skips a beat," and telling her he wanted to kiss her twice on a planned field trip to Washington, D.C. he was supposed to chaperone. Parents tonight gave credit to the school district for transparency.
We've got emails yesterday and we've got emails today.
And that made you happy that they were communicating?
Yes, they're communicating, and I prefer to let the court system handle what the court system needs to handle. My focus is the students of Norristown Area School District and making sure they feel safe and welcome when they come to school.
Parents both wonder and worry if this wasn't a first with this teacher,
and
that there are more student victims out there.
Yeah, it's absolutely a possibility.
There is no way this is the first time this man has done this. No way. He's too comfortable with doing it. He's done it before, and we're going to see, and I'm going to follow this, we're going to see how many students come forward.
Predators, there's never just one. I pray that this is the first and last, but it wouldn't shock me if there were more.
Well, tonight bail was set at $10,000 that detectives expected him to easily make, but he won't be going back to the middle school in the morning. Now, Jason Sheba, one other disturbing thing that the Norristown detective told us that he learned from this 13-year-old victim was back around Christmas time, she was given a gift from her school. Then this teacher asked for her home address, and then he personally delivered the gift to her. And then after handing her the gift, he then went inside her house and hugged her, and then finally left.
Do we see this? Hi, Scotland. I hope you're feeling better. Good morning, sweetie. He asked for her address, went to deliver the gift to her personally, went in her home and hugged her. He wanted contact with this young woman. He wanted to touch her. And he was going to chaperone a trip, and he wanted to kiss her twice. Are we fucking kidding?
Disturbing to say the least. Steve Keeley there. Thank you very much.
Now, to me, this is discrimination because the teacher, the female teacher, was put on administrative leave. The male teacher was fired. I think she should be fired as well.
We turn now to a 12 News investigation. New details
this is a story that's going to be near and dear to all of us because this sounds so familiar. Not only that, okay, this man, Chronister is his name. He also had pimp rules. His name is Austin Chronister, 38 years old. He's been charged with human trafficking, sexual assault, false imprisonment, and guess where he lived at? Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Okay. He also had rules for the girls. He gave them slave numbers. They were supposed to perform, they had to sign a contract. He required them to have sex upon demand. He wanted them to wear a collar as a reminder they were being evaluated for their services. Okay, let's listen.
We turn now to a 12 News investigation. New details in a possible sex slave operation right here in Milwaukee. A search warrant providing new insight into what was happening inside a man's historic Concordia home at 31st and State. 12 News' Hannah Hilliard breaking it all down for us tonight.
This 10-page document reveals why investigators wanted to get into this home. The search warrant describing a BDSM lifestyle that crossed the line. BDSM is a non-traditional sexual activity that includes bondage, discipline, dominance, and submission. The target of the criminal investigation.
38 years old. There he goes. He had pimp rules too. Okay. Pimp rules. Except for he wasn't pimping them out. Not necessarily.
Austin Chronister, a licensed real estate agent and private investigator. A new search warrant says he lived in the Concordia neighborhood with at least 4 women at one time. One of the women describing Chronister and the other girlfriends as her family. It says they signed contracts agreeing to obedience, sex upon demand, and wearing collars.
They had matching tattoos and so-called slave numbers. That's all fine if it's consensual, but allegations are that this unusual living situation turned into non-consensual sex for 2 of the individual women living in the home.
The court document says in 2023, a new girlfriend was only 19 years old and was married, sparked an argument. The victim telling police during the fight, Chronister dragged her up a flight of stairs, picked up her head, and slammed her head onto the floor like a pancake. In and out of consciousness, she says he sexually assaulted her twice. A second victim describing a similar experience. The home, called House St. Pierre, a criminal defense attorney who changed her last name to St. Pierre, lived there too. Court filings say she kept tabs on the women.
Now, wait a minute. We've got a twist to the story too. There was a lawyer that also lived there, and that's why it's called St. Pierre. Okay, so the lawyer is said to have held on to the women's paychecks, their social security cards, and their birth certificates. She kept it all in a lockbox, but she has not been charged. And that's some shit. We're going to see her right in a few minutes.
And ran her law practice out of the home.
Are you Kristen St. Pierre? Can you tell me how you know Austin Chronister?
I'm not interested in answering questions. Thank you, though.
Anything you'd like to say to the victims?
Silence as Chronister right now sits behind bars. In Milwaukee, Hannah Hilliard, WISN 12 News.
Now, Chronister is in custody, being held on a $75,000 bond. He is charged with human trafficking, false imprisonment, and sexual assault.
So that's him. Now, I'm going to put in this number, okay? I'm going to put in this number. This is for domestic, the hotline for national domestic violence. There is the phone number to call, okay? Or if you or someone you know is a victim of sexual abuse, this is a certified crisis hotline that you call. And there we go. So, hi, T-Love. Again, we have this going on in Wisconsin. He didn't go across 5 states, though, okay? He did not go across 5 states. Not at all. So we got to make sure that we're fair here. He just kept it to his home. That's where he kept it at. He was living, and the attorney should be in jail as well. Should be in jail? Yes, she should be in jail. Hold on. It was something else that I wanted to show you. We're going to talk about the young man. Hi, Harlow. We're going to talk about the young man in Waterbury, Connecticut. Again, this story has taken off. It has gained national attention, as you see. The GoFundMe has raised a lot of money. This was an update like 13 hours ago. So let me share this with you. Scotland. Harlow, I was watching your replay because I came in for a bit and then I had to go. I really enjoy your hot topics because I used to do a segment on hot topics.
And the man held captive in Waterbury for 20 years. He has a second chance at life right now after setting the house on fire in order to get out. There are several resources now available throughout the state for him. And your reporter Dylan Fearon live in Waterbury tonight, where he was allegedly imprisoned and abused by his stepmother. Dylan.
Well, Mark, Aaron, the main focus now is getting this man proper medical care and dental care, 2 things he hasn't had in at least 20 years. We know he's in recovery right now, but at some point will come legal fees, living expenses, therapy, and counseling. It has to be daunting for someone that has been put in this situation for 2 decades, but luckily he has a support system around him. One victim right here. When Amanda Nardozzi heard about the starvation and torture the 68-pound man endured, she had to step in. Amanda is executive director of Safe Haven of Greater Waterbury, which helps domestic violence victims.
You know, it's a tragic situation that nobody knew that this was going on. Family members had tried to reach out and they were turned away. And it's just, I think that the level of trauma that this person's experienced, I think people can feel for him.
They feel for him so much, Safe Haven's GoFundMe for the victim is up to $105.
Do you see this money they've raised for this young man? $105,000. Okay. Now the sisters come out the woodworks. Well, she said she's been looking. The biological mother is now in the picture. I hope and pray this money goes directly to him. He spends it or for his health, for everything he needs. I don't think any of these people need to get any of his money. This one anonymous donator donated $2,000 right there. $2,000. And if you go look at the GoFundMe, these people are giving money to this young man.
$5,000 thanks to people from Waterbury and around the world. 14 people have donated at least one, with money coming in from the UK and Australia. Amanda says the man has a conservator who's in charge of the victim's well-being.
Working with an attorney to try and set up either a trust or work with the conservator to try and ensure that the bills are paid.
His recovery is the most important thing.
I don't know. She may love her brother, but I don't trust her. My opinion, I don't trust her. She may love her brother. I just don't trust her.
Heather Tessman is the victim's half-sister. She spent more than 10 years searching for him and could never solve the family mystery, with Kimberly Sullivan accused of being an evil stepmother to the victim since he was 11. until he freed himself at 32 last week.
He's got to get dental care. His teeth are all rotten.
Yep, his teeth are all rotten. His teeth are rotten to the core. I mean, but the stepmother says that she fed him. She took care of him. 2 cups of water a day. If sometimes he's drinking out the toilet. What food did she feed this young man? Remember, he left school in 4th grade. His education level is a 4th grade education. He's never been allowed to socialize. He's never had a cell phone. Who knows? He probably never even watched TV. Only thing he knows. Hi, Arkansas. Welcome. Welcome. Arkansas, guys. She is from the other community. Welcome, sweetie. He's never been allowed to socialize. Everybody's saying that this one guy said he was his best friend. How are you his best friend? You haven't seen him since 4th grade. How are you his best friend? He's been looking for him. Question is, did he ever go to the house? He never mentioned that in that interview, that he went to the house. She's never mentioned that she went to the home where he was last known to live. She said she searched social media. Not on social media. She checked records, ancestry, no death certificates. He's not a boy, he's a man. Yes, that's the man that set the house, his room on fire to escape. The dad is now deceased. He was in a wheelchair before he died. He said after his dad died, the treatment got worse. The twin sisters that lived in that house as well, I think they need to be held accountable because they're complicit. They got to go out, enjoy their lives. They went to school. They had friends. They work. Everything this young man never got to do. It's going to take more than $105,000. Good morning, damn it, Mandy. No, that's not one of the sisters that live there. That's his biological stepsister. When the mother gave him to his dad, the first time she saw him, he was a baby. She was in foster care. Her mother went to visit her in foster care and brought her brother to see her. She only saw him once. We don't know what the issues the mother had, whether she was a drug addict, whether she had mental issues. We don't know. We just know that they're talking now. She was in foster care, and the young man was given to his dad to raise because the mother wasn't in a position to raise him.
Put on some weight, hopefully flesh out a little bit.
The Office of Victim Services, based in Wethersfield, offers crime victims therapy, treatment, and safety planning. The office wouldn't comment on this, but its resources would be available to the victim.
Yeah, I would think medical bills, dental bills, trauma therapy, housing.
Arkansas, you
legal.
need to visit
So
Savage's channel.
Things that he may need moving forward.
If my mods can drop those channel links for me, I appreciate it.
And Amanda has also told us she has received calls from attorneys and dentist's office willing to help this young man for free, which is great to hear. Meanwhile, the suspect, the stepmother, Kimberly.
So the $105,000 won't go towards a dentist. They're going to fix him up. They're going to give him veneers or false teeth. They're doing it for free. Let's see if other physicians step up. Let's see if anybody steps up to give him a place to stay. He's going to need to learn how to live on his own, how to cook, everything. Yep, keep him far away from these people. He's going to have someone that's going to be there. That's going to be there. That's going to show him how to, remember, 32, 5'9", 68 pounds, never finished school, never went past the 4th grade. We don't know if he was reading on his own until he is in a position to interview. I mean, really have a sit down interview. Hi, Jen, baby. And tell what happened, we're not going to know the full story at all. We're not going to know. Here we go.
Sullivan will be back in court a week from today. I'm your
March
reporter live in
26th.
Waterbury tonight. Dylan Fear in Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
I don't think she should have been left out on bail.
We turn now to a 12 News
hold on. I don't think she should have been let out on bail at all. Good morning, my damn it, Mandy. I think she needs to be locked up. I'm going to agree with the sister. They all should be locked up and confined because they all took part of the mistreatment of that young man. All of them. I have a story that I find very, and I want you to understand this man in this story, he spent 30 years in prison for a crime he did not commit. When he got out, they offered him $25,000. He said no. They took away his entire adulthood. 30 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit. This happens every single day. Every day. So let's take a look at this. And this is in Connecticut. Jen, Ohio have left the news lately. Connecticut is rolling these days. So let's take a look at this. I want to make sure it pops up.
We start with a jury awarding $5.7 million to a man who is wrongfully convicted of murder. They also found a former New Milford detective liable for his failure to act. NBC Connecticut Investigates. Caitlin Burchell joins us live outside the federal courthouse in New Haven with the details. Caitlin.
Hi, Mike. Ricky Birch turned 58 years old during this civil trial. He was 18 years old when he was accused of murder and then spent nearly 30 years in prison before that murder conviction was overturned. And while today's $5.7 million decision was not the 50.
You know what, Arkansas? I forgot to say that too. I reached, over 4,000, I guess, last week, a week before last, and I didn't even celebrate it. And because numbers fluctuate all the time. Wait a minute. Damn it, Mandy. I just spoke about Lisa and her hoagie and stogie. I just spoke about that lion heifer. I just did.
$1 million his legal team had asked for. Birch says it's time to move on.
It's okay. You know what? I'm not bitter. I don't want to be bitter. I'm not staying locked up in my head. They kept me locked up long enough. I'm done with that.
Ricky Birch says money will never replace the 30 years he spent in prison wrongfully, the majority of his adult life. But he says a jury's decision that the town of New Milford pay him $5.7 million is justice.
It's better than the $175,000 that they offered me as an insult at the beginning. That's all.
Sean Henning, who was also wrongfully convicted in the same murder, supported Birch in court. NBC Connecticut Investigates spoke with both men for the documentary Traces of Doubt, The Forensics of Dr. Henry Lee, after the state settled with the pair for $25.2 million for their wrongful convictions.
It's not about the money. It really isn't. It's about I can't have a family. It's the possibilities that they took.
In this civil trial, while the jury found that former New Milford detectives David Short and Stephen Jordan did not violate Birch's right to a fair trial during the murder investigation, they did find Short liable for common law negligence and ruled Short's inactions could cause Birch harm. The lawsuit argued Short should have known a jailhouse informant's statement was false and done something about it. Lawyers for the detectives had no comment today.
I'm just going to move on and have the best rest of my life as I can.
Now, the jury deliberated for about 10 hours before making their decision, and they did all this without knowing that Sean Henning, the co-defendant, had previously settled with New Milford for $2.5 million and that the pair had already settled with the state. Live in New Haven for NBC Connecticut Investigates, I'm Caitlin Birchall.
$5.7 million for 30 years of this man's life. 30 years of his life. Okay, let's look at what the new prime minister had to say in Canada.
Is just putting a dagger into Donald Trump. Canadian new Prime Minister Mark Carney, the banker, versus Donald Trump, the bankrupter. And Carney is just outmaneuvering the Trump regime. It is a thing of beauty. So I previously reported how Carney took his first international visit to reliable allies in France and the United Kingdom. He returned to Canada after that very successful visit, strengthening relationships there. And he went to Iqaluit, Nunavut, in the Arctic territory of Canada, where he announced a deal with Australia for one of the biggest defense exports that was meant to go to the United States first. But Canada got its hands on this weapons and surveillance system from Australia to protect its sovereignty, with a message being protect our sovereignty against the United States. This weapon system was supposed to go to the U.S., but Carney went to Nunavut, where it's going to be installed, and announced this massive deal with Australia, cutting the U.S. out. And also, we know that Canada is reviewing its F-35 purchases and looking elsewhere, like to France and other defense manufacturers over the United States. And so this is a $6.5 billion high-tech Australian military purchase. It's known as the Jindali Over-the-Horizon Radar Jorn system to build a new Arctic over-the-horizon system. But get this, the speech that Carney gave in Nunavut was pitch perfect, powerful, saying we got to defend our sovereignty, with a message being we're gearing up our military if we got to fight the United States. He didn't say it quite like that, but he basically said it. Here's what he said. Let's play it.
We're strengthening the presence of the Canadian Armed Forces to detect, to defend and deter, and to defend the Arctic and our sovereignty. We're committing nearly $420 million to protect that sovereignty with forces across land, air, and sea, with greater sustained and year-round presence here in the Arctic. The world is changing. Our adversaries are increasingly emboldened. International institutions and norms that have kept Canada secure are now being called into question. And the United States priorities, our ally, our United States priorities, once closely aligned with our own, are beginning to shift.
And here's another portion of that speech. I told you wanted to see it. Let's play it.
And today I'm announcing that our government will be working with our long-standing defense and security partners, Australia, to build a new long-range over-the-horizon military radar system. This is an investment of more than $6 billion in the most advanced and efficient radar system. The over-the-horizon radar system will enable Canada to detect and respond to both air and maritime threats over our Arctic faster and from further away. It will, most fundamentally, keep all Canadians safe.
So elsewhere...
So I dropped the link. You guys can go watch it. I think this was a blow to us. And yeah, what the hell? It's like, whoo. Anyway, wanted you guys to see what was going on there. Lori Vallow had an interesting day in court yesterday. And let's take a look at what Lori did in court yesterday. Now, this is the preliminary stuff before her hearing. And she wasn't too happy yesterday at all. And she's upset about YouTube. This is coming from Law and Crime, and I'm going to call fair use.
Do you really think we need to screen that far out? I know you're being overly cautious.
I think, especially given that I'm not positive we'll pick a jury in that first week, I think we should, Your Honor.
All right. Defense have any comment on how we're screened through May 15th?
I think it's plenty of time, Your Honor, myself.
All right, let's deal with a couple things. First, I've received the notice of compliance. That was when the defendant requested the Gilbert video. Is that apply to the second case or this case?
Your Honor, it's an incident that occurred in January. It's not really, it was disclosed because it is mentioned in the DR. The defense had filed a motion for the state to disclose that, and then had brought up again on the 11th that the state had not disclosed it, that there was some.
Did we get LadyRed's link?
Video of that.
Yes, we did. Okay.
Said YouTube video. I have gone through what video she's discussing. We're not aware of any video that has. I'm just providing notice that disclosure is complete as to that police report that is peripherally relevant.
All right. Any comment on that?
Now, Lori Vallow is representing herself, okay? She's representing herself in her trial for the killing of Charles Vallow.
Yes, Your Honor. For clarity, is the state proposing that there is no video or that they don't have to give it to me because it's not attached to that DR number?
I think what she said was she's not aware of what video you referenced. So as far as her knowledge, she doesn't have it and doesn't know about it.
So I should go directly to Gilbert Police Department to get it?
Well, last time you were in court, you said your investigator or someone told you about it.
A mitigator.
A mitigator.
Showed it to me.
If they have that link, why don't they just send it to the state, and that may help the state determine if that's something they've already disclosed.
I will tell you why they won't, because that is my former team, and they will not do anything to help my investigator, my paralegal. They won't give us any information that they found. They won't talk to us at all because apparently there was a conflict. So they will not help us. They will not send us anything. They will not email us anything. They will not answer anything that we ask them to. So that has been the response from my former defense team. That's where we are.
All right. Do you know, and maybe your advisory councils can speak to this.
There you go, LadyRed.
Did they turn over a file to you, or did you have to start from scratch?
No. From what I understand, all they turned over was the 22 terabyte hard drive, and that is it. They didn't turn down any notes, any work product, nothing that they had done to that point.
See, Lori, everything should still be in your discovery. Everything should be in the transcripts from the courts. Everything that they had. Bye, sweetie. I hope everything goes well with your appointment. Everything your attorneys had, you should have during the discovery phase of your first trial. You should have access to all of that, Lori. So I don't know where she's going with this.
Continue to stand by that today, even though a lot of that information I gave to them, they would not give it back to me.
See, you had it. She had it. Where are your notes? Where are your notes? You were scribbling all through your first trial. Where's all the information? Because they had to give it to you. LadyRed, I didn't know that that damn it Mandy was in your chat till I went in there. That's my girl.
All right. I'm going to make an order, and it'll be in the minute entry that they turn over a copy of their entire file, including any mitigation information that was gathered to the advisory council. Hicks, you look like you want to say
Yep,
something.
she has counselors sitting on both sides of her. Hold on. Anyway, she's speaking about a YouTube video. The video she's speaking about is the one with her son. And the one that he put up on YouTube with her phone call. And she's upset because the video is out there. And she's saying that she can't get access to it. Bullshit. You can get access to it. It's right there on YouTube. Nobody has to, okay, Party Rock, nobody has to give you discovery. It's out there. She's upset about all of these YouTube videos. You'll be okay. But this morning I was looking because Donald Trump is set to sign an executive order that's going to dismantle the Department of Education. Now, since what was it? February something, he has signed about 90 executive orders. Most of them right now are being overturned. Okay? I think I've seen that. I think I've seen that. Well, no, what was it? February 14th, March 14th. He has signed about that. So now he wants to dismantle the Department of Education. Well, a federal judge overruled him as far as transgender in the military. They overruled him for firing all their probationary employees. They have to be rehired. I'm trying to see, what are these executive orders doing? They keep saying that they're going to give people that are on Social Security, they're going to get, like, with all the money that is being saved, they were supposed to be issuing out like $5,000, well, up to $5,000 in a one-time payment. Everything he did during his first, not everything, the orders he signed during his first term, Joe Biden overturned. But 30-something% of them. No, 72%. I'm trying to see, what's the purpose of all these orders when you know it's going to be going to a higher thing, because they're saying he's overstepping. This is not his, to quote it, it says, Donald Trump has used executive orders to push through policy agenda, issuing nearly 90, in 2 months, while supporters view his approach as decisive leadership in the face of legislative gridlock. His heavy reliance on executive action has drawn criticism from opponents who argue he is bypassing Congress and overstepping his presidential authority. Yes, they are. They overturned it. And yes, he wants to impeach the judges that are ruling against him. So he wants the money to go directly to the schools. So you're saying, Susie, that the Department of Education wastes too much money on bureaucracy and never gets to the schools. He wants the money. And if that's what he wants, I'm good with that. But that's not what he's saying. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He did what? There are so many legal battles going on right now with all of these executive orders this man has signed. And a lot of them have been thrown out. The judges are throwing them out. Federal judges. Are we kidding? This is crazy. This is the same thing that happened with Reagan, with Bush, and his first term. Well, Susie, I need him to speak clearly then, because that's not what he's saying. That's not what I heard. So if that's what he's saying, I need to go find a video where he's speaking clearly and stating that. So a federal court just blocked an order revoking birthright citizenships. Okay? He tried to, oh God. Wait a minute. Hi, ladies of iTalk. There was so many IRS workers that lost their jobs. Good morning, sweetie. And I need to go back and catch your live you did the other night. I missed it. Well, I be missing your lives because you go live late. But I do catch your replays, and I really, really, really need to start saying replay. I really need to start saying replay. I do it sometimes, and sometimes I forget. But I really need to do that so it can show engagement. Okay, Susie, tell me where to find it at, because I looked at his plans. I've dropped them in the chat several times, and so if you tell me where to go look, I'll definitely go look. That's the Ladies of iTalk's channel. And I was talking about the active shooter. Let me just show you this, and then I'm gonna, because they actually have the shooter now. This took place at another hospital. I'm like, what the hell is going on with these hospitals right now? And they really do have a good channel. There is no drama. Oh my God, Mr. Jimenez, those little girls are so cute. There is this happened in Michigan, and Stephen Stearns appeared in court too. Matter of fact, that just happened. Yeah. Let's take a look. Well, if they're finding taxpayer waste, I am so serious. I'm all for it. Because yes, a lot of our tax dollars are wasted. A lot of our dollars are wasted. And that is the truth. That is the truth. My whole thing is, I think they should be written better. They really need to be. And I'm just, everybody, hold on. What is this? Pink bow. Yes, and they have been extreme. They really have been extreme. I agree with that. But I want to know, all this money that we're saying that we're going to save. We're going to save all of this money. What are we going to do with it? What are we going to do with it? So Stephen Stearns just went into court. And hold on. Let's take a look at this. I'm not going to watch all of this, but I want to hear exactly what, because I didn't even know he was appearing in court this morning. And I've been following this.
Interveners, media interveners on behalf of as a proxy of the people of the state of Florida for the purpose of intervening, essentially receive automatic the ability to oppose essentially just by walking in. That's been the rule in Florida since 1982, and I do refer, Your Honor, to that case.
Wasn't the media a party in that case?
No, sir. They're interveners, as they typically are. Typically, the way this works is the
What did he appear in court for this
closure
morning?
of a specific record or particular hearing, such as a suppression hearing, and then
It's a motion.
By law, there has to be a notice to local media. At which point,
Okay, he went to court this morning so that his pretrial proceedings in his sexual battery case be closed. Why do you want it closed? Why? Why? We all know what you did. Let me drop this link. You guys can go watch it. LadyRed, your video you did the other day was off the chain on What the Fuck Radio. YTF. It was off the chain. It really, really was. But I was just talking about Lisa this morning and how she lied about going to court. And then she said she passed out. She said that wasn't her dad's case that frauditor pulled up, and it was. But her dad didn't go to court because he was in the hospital when he wasn't. I was telling them how she doesn't do anything to try to help herself. She keeps relying on people on TikTok to give her money. Do you know if her Patreon has been shut down, LadyRed? Matter of fact, hold on. Let me drop this for you. So if you're still here, if you can come up real quick, I much appreciate it. Somebody asked me the other day, are you the LadyRed on TikTok? I said, no, on YouTube. I said, no, that's why I changed my name. I said, but her channel is great. And I told them to go check out your channel. You really have a great channel when it comes to Lisa. You really, really do. And she covers other things as well. She puts everybody in a dark place. She puts everybody in a dark place. Same as Lori Jones. She was talking about Emily Pike. Lied and said she wasn't laughing, talking about she received a text message. Hold on a second. Hold on. Let me see something. Okay, handle that. I see your message, ma'am. Handle that.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Good. How are you? Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I hear you.
Good.
What? Okay, here's my thing with her. And LadyRed, she makes me so mad when I hear her and the lies, and she's lying. And when I see people are I can't really go in her chats anymore. I watch from a window sometimes if it comes, if it's posted in Discord. But when I hear her lying, and then she contradicts herself live after live after live.
Yes, she does.
Is it just me that catches that?
No, I try to catch it, and the thing is I think it's going to be really irritating, but that's okay because she irritates me on the daily anyways. I'm going to start going back and clipping out the little bits. Like, I'm going to start just putting all of her lies in her face. I have to. I feel like it's a necessity.
Now, I don't know if you're on TikTok, but when you were doing that back down memory lane, I was clipping it and I was putting it on TikTok. And everybody was saying, keep up the great work. I said, this is video credit from LadyRed on YouTube. Check out her channel because she just lies so much. She said she passed out. Her drug dealer beat her ass because she didn't have his money.
Okay, first of all, you can see a huge scratch on her cheek. I'm going to do a whole thing about that. But you cannot, okay, so like my husband hears about Lisa all the time. He's so funny. He cracks me up. So I go out yesterday, of course, or the day before, and I'm like, listen to this. And I said, what happened? And I'm like, is that even possible? And he's like, no. He's like, so what? They just wheeled her out of the courtroom and just went on with the courtroom like nothing happened. Like nobody is gonna do that. That is the most ridiculous story. Come on. For real?
Now, if Lisa was in a hospital, as many times she's saying she was in a hospital, as many times as she's put her dad in the hospital, needing to get her mom there,
She would have
needing an
been live from
Uber
the
when she has
hospital.
two sisters. Thank you.
And
She
they
would
have
be
free
live
Wi-Fi at the
from the
hospital.
hospital.
So free Wi-Fi, like, and it's free. Lisa loves everything free. She would have been online. She would have been on
She would
TikTok.
have been online and she would have got money
Oh,
then
heck
because
yeah.
people would have gave her money. Somebody asked her to show her bracelet. Well, if you want to send me money, I'll send it. You know damn well she doesn't have an ID bracelet from the hospital.
All she's gonna do is you're gonna send her money. I don't say us, none of us send her money. All that's gonna happen is
I'm not
someone's
sending
gonna
a
send
shit.
her money and she blocks them and doesn't admit to receiving it. That's why she wants people to send friends and family because you cannot dispute a friends and family donation. And PayPal will not help you get the donation back. Now, the reason PayPal holds it for goods and services is because you are giving money to a stranger. And that money that they hold, that she gets so mad, that holding period is for the person donating the money to make sure that they know who they're donating it to and that they want to do that because they share your personal information with that person
Yep.
when they receive your donation. So it's
And they tell,
PayPal protecting you. And people are just really ignorant about it, for real.
and that's why she always says, PayPal, friends and family. Because if you send it goods and services, they get your whole name and your address because they're thinking you're buying something. And that's why a lot of people were doing that to tease her, but it hurts them in the long run. I heard her talking about some lady that didn't do what she was supposed to be doing, like she's blackmailing
She
people to
does.
send her money.
Hmm.
She's extorting people. And one video I put up, I said, if this piece of trash is extorting you, call the police, just
Exactly.
like that other lady.
Call us. Like, call me. I don't know what I'll do, but I'll do something. I don't know what. I'll figure it out.
It's crazy. Hi, Sophie. But it's so Simply Sophie covers Lori
Oh,
Jones.
hi, Sophie. I don't see the chat, so hi, Sophie. I love her.
Yeah, she covers Lori Jones, and she really does. I know Mickey Mouse covers Lori, Chantel covers Lori, but she actually plays her lives and do commentary on it. And she does use Chantel Gucci's video sometimes. And I used to tell Chantel all the time, please go live and do commentary on it. Go live, do commentary on it. But people can see these scammers. And for Lori, to go live and ask for $20 for food when she was just given 30, 2 days before, and she ran out to get her fix. This woman gets money. She had someone to pay her rent to catch up. And did you know that her daughter was now in foster care and she couldn't keep it off the internet?
Yes, girl.
Her daughter has been there for about a month, and she comes online and try to say that Andy, the stepdad, abused that child when it wasn't true,
Yeah.
so she can get money.
Hmm. I've been watching it and I've been thinking about tapping in, just, spanking her hand a little bit. But I'm telling you that this trip with Lisa this last week, it really messed with my head because, I'm an older lady now. I'm 50 years old, but, I still have
Girl, I'm
memories and
older than
things like
you.
that.
Stop.
And that took me to a darker place. I didn't, and then I found out about Lori's daughter and I was just like, what is up? I think I'm going to do an unfit mother video and just
I think you should.
ask them, like, what
And
is
you
your
can,
deal? Like, I don't
yeah,
understand.
You can add Gabby in there.
Yep.
You can add Trevino in there. There's a lot of them on there that are unfit, and people, and everybody says stop watching her, stop watching her. But it's like a train wreck that you can't turn away from. And stop. She's irrelevant. She is. But the lies that she tells. And then when you see WTF in there, did you see WTF in her lives?
Yeah. And she says hi and hello, sweetie. And I'm confused about
Yes.
that.
Yes. You're showing this piece of trash support. But yet you want to jump on Villain's panel. You want to jump in Raggedy T stuff. What the hell is wrong with that picture?
There's a few things that are weird about that, but and everybody keeps saying that everybody's going to tell about these so-called creators that are supporting Lisa. And if you see me, like I went in when those two ladies, they're still saying that they're going to be releasing all of this proof of what they said.
And they haven't released it
There,
yet.
I know. I'm watching. I was in there, and they're like, "Oh, LadyRed, we should collab," and I'm like, "Great, we should." And that was before they played what they didn't play. And then I was like, "Great, this is fun. I'm gonna collab with." So I have no idea what we're collabing with because they haven't showed anything yet. But I'm giving them grace because she said she's a single lady. She's fixing her house on her own, working a full-time job. I get it. I just in the future, not that they're listening or would care for my opinion, but I would just say that you should have all your ducks in a row before you come out. If you're going to come out and make such bold statements or accusations, you should have your proof ready to go. That's just, just not judging anybody. I'm just
Exactly.
saying
Don't come out
you
with
should
it.
have that all
Yep.
ready to go because it's not a good look.
Exactly. Don't come out and says we're getting it all together. No, you have it all together, and then you come out with it. And Sophie, you are not bullying Lori. You are playing her lives and commentating on her actions. Lady Red, did you know when she was on Facebook, she offered somebody, her and her two daughters, if they would go out and beat up Andy?
Good Lord.
Sophie has some really good videos from her Facebook. She was on Facebook talking about her daughters had beat her up and kicked her in the stomach. That's coming from those twins that killed their mother. Okay, she's watching all of this stuff and she's taking it and using it as her
That's
stories.
just sick. That's sick.
Yep, Sophie has some really good stuff from her Facebook.
I've been watching a lot of Sophie and sharing her out. The Emily Pike stuff
Yep.
has me just hot. I'm so angry about that. I keep watching that video where she's mocking the tribal dance.
Oh my God, I just saw that last night. And the bad thing is the Emily Pike community has asked her to stop. They asked her to stop. This young girl, 14 years old, was dismembered.
Mm-hmm.
What is it she doesn't get? She's not even doing anything to try to get her daughter out of foster care, but sitting on TikTok and begging.
And there's a deeper, I mean, it's horrible what happened to Emily, but it goes like this is a problem with Indigenous women and little girls. And we're coming up missing everywhere, and nobody talks about it. So that's why
And
everybody's saying, like, say her name, Emily Pike. We can say
Emily
everybody
Pike.
else's names when they go missing, and they're not even having Amber Alerts for Native
Nope.
Americans, and it's
I
not right.
just found this out when I was doing
Right.
the Emily Pike story. So at one point, I was looking into all of the indigenous people that were going missing in Canada, and then I got really, really busy at work. But I will not be busy, so I really have. Thank you, Sammy J. Thank you. I really have time right now to look through all of this because that's my focus, really. Missing kids, missing people.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember about the mass grave they found in Canada with all of these indigenous women and men as well.
Yeah.
And I really want to delve into that. But it's just crazy to see where Lori finds this funny when she was doing that dance looking like an asshole.
I know.
Really, David? And did you know that 2 years before there was another guy found in his car at damn near the same spot where Emily Pike was found?
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
And he was a Native American as well.
Mm.
This is crazy. But people go in there and they watch it. And I know why they watch it, but oh my God, I can't. You see that this woman needs actual mental help. And to think it's funny that your daughter was taken from the only person that really cares for her
Does she have any
and
idea? No,
try to
she doesn't.
label.
Maybe I don't know if she does, but like group homes when you're a teenager, that's no joke, man. That's like, come on, she's not being pampered. She's not being like, just hope she's not being touched on or hit on or it's a
Yes, you don't
whole
know where
different
she's at.
level. Like I cannot believe that she's so jovial. Like, oh, send me my frappes, bitch. I want to smack you upside your head with your frappe. I just cannot. I can't.
And we hear
Sorry.
it every day. Emily Pike is one of those young ladies that has ran away from a home several times. This last time, it didn't end up well for her. If she really studied the Emily Pike story, she would know that group home is not the place for your daughter to
Right.
be. I am damn it, Mandy, I will be doing a story on these group homes, but I need to get my facts and stuff straight. And I think I'm going to start with Emily Pike's group home, because my thing is, I see her uncle is doing interviews. What was so bad? Where is her mom? Where is her dad? Why didn't her uncle take her in? But now you want to do all these interviews. Where were you when this young girl needed
But
help?
really look into that though, because the government, okay, the state, the government, the country, whoever, I know it happened to me. I'm part Ojibwa. So what
Ooh,
they
okay.
do, they like to remove native children from their families. I don't know. I'm assuming she's pure. I am not 100%,
But why
obviously.
didn't they put her in a native?
They like to
Because
separate
in the group home.
families. Like they didn't even tell me
Okay.
I was part native. They lied to my adoptive family and said I was Irish and Italian. And then when I found my birth family, I'm not. I'm not Italian at
Yeah.
all.
Nope, you're not. Oh my God.
No.
Sophie, you're
And
right. And that's what I was.
I had an adoptive family that would have honored my culture. They would have made sure I knew about who I was and where I came from. Because they tried to do that.
Watch her. Come up.
I grew up
Hold on
thinking
a
I was
second. I'm
Italian,
sorry.
girl. Like I'm so messed up
Hold on
as
a
far as
second.
like identity wise, it's just crazy. Like 50 years old
Yep.
and just finding out who you are is weird. It's weird.
Yep. Watch her. Hit that link. I wanted to hear about this group home that you worked at. But and I was trying to find out about if this is where all the native kids went to, or was this just
Well, and the
you,
thing with the groups
you
homes is that, okay, like her daughter is just getting into one now, but a lot of these kids have been there since, 4, 5, 6, and they get trained by the old, I can speak from personal experience. You get trained by the older kids that are there. So she's coming into a situation that most of them have been there. They're acclimated and there's a lot of F shit that goes on. You know what I'm saying? And it's a whole different
yeah, because
environment.
okay, so my thing is with Lori's daughter. I don't know if she's in an all girls group home or foster. She's in the system.
Right.
I don't know if there's guys and girls. You hear every day how these young girls are assaulted by other girls, other boys, counselors at these
Yep.
places. You hear this every day. And then you're on TikTok talking about you're living your best life, threatening to drive to villains and Psycho Bunny when you can't even afford to buy fucking toilet paper.
You know that I'm not even gonna. Villain would just
No,
destroy her.
seriously.
And second,
Hi, Watcher.
that's
Welcome.
crazy. How
Yeah, now Watcher of
doesn't she
Crazy
want to keep
Lady
those
Red.
4 teeth?
She
That's all I
really
gotta
has,
say. You think she'd want to keep those 4 teeth she has?
yeah, those 4 teeth and the other ones that are rotten in between. Watcher of Crazy really has a great channel as
Oh,
well. Watcher, Tell us about your experience at these group homes.
So I used to work at a group home that we had here, and it was supposed to be a Christian-based group home, and we only took in boys that were removed from their home because of CPS, or we had a few that were removed by their probation officer, and they were placed in this group home, and it was out in the middle of nowhere. It wasn't fenced or anything. And then as staff, we each had a house that we were assigned to that had up to 16 boys. Now these boys, they ranged from 12 to 17. And I mean, you wouldn't believe some of their stories. I mean, we're talking very traumatized, whether they had been essayed or severely abused, you name it. I mean, we saw it out there. And it was supposed to be a really strict and tight treatment plan that they stuck to. That is not what happened out there at all. This particular place was operating under a 501c3, of course, and as a like a religious, with a religious affiliation. And so they got grants and things like that from the state, as well as they would get money from the state for each child, depending on their level of care. So they're ranked in levels like 1, 2, 3, 4, with 4 being, minimal care required. And then 4 being the most care, like round the clock care required. And so, of course, at the lower end, the facility would get probably around $5,000 a month. And on the high end, I want to say that
is that $5,000 a month per child, or just
yes, per child?
$5,000 a month per child.
Yes, per child. And then on the high end
it's
of that,
absolutely a money racket.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Children are for sale every day in the good USA.
Oh yeah. And I want to say the level 3 was somewhere between $9,000 and $10,000 a child, which is, we had a lot of those. In relation to how many kids total that we had.
May I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
I actually work for an adult facility like that for people that are coming out of, like, they've had problems with the law, but they're deemed innocent because of insanity, that type of thing. So we also have the levels, and ours is the top level, meaning that you have eyes on them at all times. Is that the situation you're talking about? Like, you have eyes on them at all times?
Yes, the ones with the highest level of care, yes, they had to have.
They're violent offenders.
In our case, it wasn't necessarily that they were violent offenders. So like we had one kid that had Asperger's, and he was very low functioning, so it left him vulnerable to the other kids. And so, and he had some other medical things that were issues as well. And he had to have a lot of medications. A lot of times he wanted to unalive himself. And so somebody had to constantly be within arm's reach of him.
Right.
And even when he slept, there was somebody in there with him.
Yep. Same.
Yeah. And so, they, excuse me, I worked there for probably about 9 months, I guess. I had 2 jobs. I worked at the juvenile detention center. I worked there, and I was going to college all at the same time. And so basically what I did were 12-hour shifts, where I'd go in at like 6 in the morning and work till 6 in the afternoon. And then I'd work, 3 days a week, sometimes 2, and then pick up something on the weekend. But our kids, actually, most of them went into town to go to school at the public schools. but they were all in special ed classes, that kind of thing. The ones that did not go to public school, which I think we had, I want to say that there was eight or nine that we had to keep at the facility, where they would have instructors come out and work with them, like special needs, special resource type teachers. What ended up, and I loved those kids. I mean, a lot of them grew up without moms or dads, and they just wanted to be loved. And
can I ask you a
sure.
question? Watch your crazy.
Mhm.
Were any of these kids at that group home ever abused by a counselor or
Yes.
other kids that were
Yes.
there?
It did, and that's part of why I left. We actually had one of the owner's brothers. He was a crackhead, and he worked there.
Oh my God.
And he ended up breaking one of them's arm.
Oh my
yeah.
God.
And so I mean, look, I was a mandated reporter. I reported it. They came.
What happened?
The state actually came in and did an investigation, and the brother got fired temporarily. He ended up going back after I left, and the kid that he broke his arm ended up hanging himself outside on the basketball.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
OMG.
I mean, it was crazy. And like I said, they did all of this under the guise of this being, a Christian based home. And they would do fundraisers and stuff in the community. Like, I don't know if you guys have Packed the Bus, where people will from
Never
the
heard of
community
it.
will come, and they'll have a school bus, and they'll fill it up with school supplies for all the kids in the
Okay.
area that don't have school supplies. So they would go and be a part of that. Well, each kid got a voucher from the state for their school supplies. So this place would just deposit that money, get the free supplies from town, from people in town, and send these kids off to school. Same thing with clothes. Like, they got clothing vouchers twice a year. They would take them to the resale shops to get their clothes.
So is this group home still open in Houston?
This one was actually in Bryan College Station. And no, I don't believe that it is.
So, I used to go, because when I was going out to A&M and all of that stuff, I would go, going out towards Denton, and that's all agricultural out
Yes.
there. There was a young lady not too long ago that ran away from there as well. She had run away several times. After she had run away from her home, they put her in one of those group homes out there, and she ran away. She was talking to a 38-year-old man, and they found her in a hotel in Dallas.
Happens all the time. And
But
down in Houston Heights,
what do you do? Are these?
Go ahead.
How do you just open a group home? I mean, I thought they would be state sanctioned, but this one was private.
So what happens, and I don't know if it's still this way in Texas, but these brothers, it was a family, a group of brothers. It was 3 brothers and some of their friends. They had lived in Houston, and Houston has a lot of these types of homes. And they had worked for a particular place down in Houston. I forget the name of it now. It was very well known back in the late 90s, early 2000s. And that actual home ended up getting shut down by the state because of the abuse and things like that was happening. And these brothers just took their model and brought it here and opened up this group home. And they found the place.
I'm gonna look.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna look that up because I lived in Houston for over 20 something years. I've just been out here on the Pacific coast for the last 3 years, and I know there's a lot of sketchy stuff going on, just like this family that ran this daycare center where all these kids were being abused at.
Yeah.
So I would definitely take a look at that. But how do you get them shut down? You work there.
So basically what ended up happening is It wasn't just me that reported things. There were teachers at school that reported stuff because they had a really big problem with these kids running away. Then the one kid hung himself, and then another kid started a huge fire out there. And then, of course, the kid had his arm broken. Another kid had his skull fractured from being slammed on the ground. He wasn't restrained properly. Because there are techniques that you use to restrain children properly. If you
Yeah.
don't, you can give them positional asphyxia where they die, shuts off their ability to breathe and they die. So, but they had people out there that weren't certified, and it was called handle with care is what it was called. The techniques that you had to be certified on. And
That's what we have where I work at, Handle with Care.
mhm. And so what ended up happening is it was probably about 2 years after I left that all of these allegations and stuff finally added up enough to where we had one of our state senators came and visited and did a town hall meeting here in town about the place, and got to hear from the community. Because, I mean, the people that lived close to where this place were had kids that would run away and come and break in their houses and stuff like that. And so I think that that's what finally got them shut down. I had to quit
Okay.
following them, because I'm one of those type of people. I'm a bulldog. Like, I'll show up where you are and embarrass you. Like, if I feel that strongly about it. And I went to church with these people. Like, I quit going to the church because of these.
But so we were talking about Lori Jones with the group homes, and I'm listening to your situation. I'm listening to what was happening at this group home where you worked at. Her daughter was taken from the stepfather, who was given custody or guardianship by a judge because she was charged with neglect. She's on TikTok living her best life, happy that her youngest daughter was taken from the only person that really cares about her. And as long as it hurts him, hi Amber, as long as it hurts him, she doesn't care. She's not worried about what could be happening to her daughter in this foster system.
That's crazy. And the thing is I don't know how it is everywhere else, but I can tell you that here in Texas, just in the last 12 months, there have been so many news stories on KHOU out of Houston.
Yes, that was my station, Channel 11, KHOU. So Amber is from Texas as well. Amber, born and raised in Texas. Now she's here on the Pacific.
Cool.
Well, on the West Coast too, Pacific Northwest. She's here as well, but born and raised in Texas.
And so we've had a huge problem with kids being taken from their home from CPS. And one girl, I want to say she was 14. And this was just in the last, like I said, 6 months maybe. She was recorded. She was recording on a cell phone her CPS caseworker telling her that she needed to get out there and sell some ass if she wanted extra money.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, they're pimping these kids out. CPS.
So here's what happened with Lori Jones' daughter. When she was with Lori, she was refusing to go to school. Lori wouldn't make her go to school. The judge gave custody guardianship to Andy. She wasn't going to school. Andy was told to call the CPS worker if this was occurring. CPS worker was called, went there trying to get her to go to school. They took her, they were trying to get her cell phone. She was hiding it behind her back. Andy tried to get it from her. She refused to go to school, so she was removed from the home. That is the truth. This girl is now now she has an older sister that is hurting behind her sister not being there. But the mother, Andy, is hurting. Everybody that's in his corner is hurting. The only thing Jay had to do was to go to school. But Lori's parenting or the lack of it has this young girl believing she can do what the fuck she wants to do.
You know, it's funny. I have an ex-husband that we had an agreement that at 2 years old that my son would go live with him and we would share custody. And he was a great father until our son started getting around puberty. And then he wanted to be his best friend and not a disciplinarian. So I took him back to court and I got custody back.
So
go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I wanted you to tell, look, don't mention the JT
No.
stuff, but I don't think a lot of people know your story. So, yeah, if you can tell them your story.
And so, you know, when my son hit puberty and we went back to court and I got custody back of him, because his dad wanted to be his best friend, his dad had rewarded some negative behaviors. Well, what happens when you reward negative behavior? They think it's okay to continue it. And so my son did that. And Mama doesn't play that. I worked for the prison system. I was a correctional officer. I worked for the juvenile detention facility. I was an officer there. You know, I went to college for criminal justice and psychology. And so I was very much by the book kind of person. And my mom had been so lenient with me, and I was a heathen. I don't know how she survived without going crazy because I was a heathen. Never really got in a lot of trouble, but I was a handful. I'll just say that. Well, my son, as he's going into his teenage years, it got way out of hand. And so finally I told him, okay, if this is what you want to do and you want to be an adult, then you pack your stuff and you get out. And he was 16 at the time. And I knew he was going to go back to his dad's. I knew that. And so he did. He went back to his dad's. About a year and a half later, he met this girl. I knew her family. I grew up with her family. They got pregnant. He dropped out of school because his dad didn't want to make him go to school. When he was here with me, he actually had gone to school and left his shotgun in the trunk of his car because he was a hunter. And he went to school on Monday. He forgot about it. He grabbed his backpack out of the trunk and was like, oh, shit. Well, he just happened to say something to another kid as they're walking into athletics. Somebody overheard him. And that kid's dad was a Bryan police officer. So that kid, when he got home that night, told his dad. The next morning at school, guess who was sitting there waiting on my son?
The cops.
He got expelled from school. So they put him in classes at the juvenile detention facility. He never got arrested, never got charged. He never took the gun out, nothing. They just made an example out of him. And so what I did is I pulled him out of that school and I put him in a private school. And when he went to that private school is when he started just getting way out of hand. So I finally told him, pack your stuff and go. If you want to go back to your dad's, go. And so he did. And his dad let him move in with this girl and her family. That's where he got introduced to meth. So he became an addict. They had a child together. It was a very rocky relationship. That child was 6 months old and she was pregnant again with their second child.
How old was she?
She had just graduated high school. So 18.
So now they have two kids.
Yes. And she no longer wants to be with him. So she moves. They had lived with me for a while. And they broke up. She didn't want him here. So she stayed. he left. Well, that sent him over the edge. That was, his first love. And this happened right before the second child was born, that they broke up. And she tried everything she could to keep him away from his kids.
Is that when the shooting happened?
No, the shooting just happened in October of 21. So, this was way before the shooting had happened, but it's what led up to it.
Gotcha.
And so she got with another guy. She ended up having a baby with him. My son and him fought a couple of times. And then my relationship with my son was very hard because I had grandbabies now, and my son wasn't acting right. He wasn't taking care of his kids. He was more worried about what she was doing, and they were both using those kids as a pawn. So, fast forward to make a long story short, he ends up going to prison for 13 months. She gets a protective order against him. He doesn't get to see his kid for 2 years, his kids. He won't keep a job. He won't pay child support because he can't see his kids unless he can pass a drug test. And so I told him, if you're not willing to get clean for your boys, I can't help you. Can't do anything for you. And he got upset with me because he felt like I took her side over his. And I didn't. I was choosing my grandkids, not either one of them. And so she and I kept an open line of communication where I could help her, whether it was buy school clothes, buy gifts, whatever, I could help her. And she would let me see the kids. And then he got out of prison. He went to prison for burglary of a building and unlawful possession of a firearm by a felon. And he did 13 months. And then that is when he came home and he was trying to get to see the kids. And what she would do is she would have a friend or a family member contact him and make him think that he was going to get to see the kids. And then she'd say no, and it set him off. And when it set him off, he would talk crazy, he'd do stupid shit. And so she could call the cops on him. She tried to get a second protective order against him, and it didn't work because they had already come to my house looking for him. And I told the boys, and it was her boyfriend and her brother-in-law that came to my house the first time. And I told them, whatever issues you have with my son is between you all and him. But you bring it to my house, and it becomes a problem with me. Well, not even a month later, my son was sitting over here, and it was a Saturday. No, it was a Wednesday. And he gets a text message or a Facebook message. He's like, read this. And I read this message, and it's the grandbaby's mom's boyfriend telling my son that they were going to kill him that weekend. And I'm like, so I screenshotted it and sent it to myself in an email. That Saturday, I went to a fish fry. I came home. I'd been here for maybe 15 minutes or so, and Lawrence came over to visit. And we were sitting here, we were talking about the fish fry and whatnot, and I kept hearing this noise outside. I thought, that's weird. And so he gets up and he's like, do you hear that noise? And he's walking towards the window. And I'm like, yeah, but what is that? He looks and he goes, there's somebody outside. And he goes, oh, that's them motherfuckers. And I'm like, what? So I immediately went and got my gun because I'd already seen the text message that they were going to kill him this weekend on Wednesday. So, and this is Saturday. And so I grab my cell phone. I've got my gun in my hand. I dial 911. I head out the door behind him. He goes out the gate, and I go in the front yard, and I'm telling the boys to leave, that they're not allowed on my property. They're not wanted here. And the whole time, I'm on the phone with 911. So I fired 2 warning shots and tell them, get the fuck off my property. Well, one of them goes back. They were in a side-by-side utility vehicle, like an off-road vehicle. One of them goes back to that utility vehicle as the other one's telling him, go get the gun. Go get the gun. So he goes back and he gets a gun out of that utility vehicle. While this other guy is over here fighting with my son, he gets my son on the ground and starts to choke him out as the other guy's walking back over to them. And I'm still on the phone with 911. And the guy points the gun down at my son's head. And he kicks him in the head. And so I remember telling the 911 operator, you better get an ambulance here because I'm fixing to kill this motherfucker. And I told him, get away from my child now. And he lifted his leg to kick him again and like went closer to him with the gun. And I was aimed at his head, and I heard a still small voice say, he's got 3 babies at home. And so I just dropped my aim from his head to his leg, and I shot him in the leg. Well, he didn't move. And so I sat there, and my next reaction was to fire again. I shot him in the other leg. And
that's what my cousin did. Okay.
Yeah. And when the second one hit, he goes, man, we got to get out of here. And the guy goes, what's wrong? And he goes, the bitch just shot me. And he went to turn around and walk off. And the first leg I shot him in just folded backwards. Like it went straight through his leg, the bone, everything. And it just folded backwards.
So have you faced charges for that?
No, I will not be charged. It was a justified shooting. The DA refuses to.
Because they were on your property and
Correct.
They were coming to attack your son. God, LadyRed, did you hear that?
I am so sorry that you had to experience that.
Yeah. And so it's been wild. It has actually been a very wild ride with all of it. Because a third party was used. I'm a witness in the case. Okay. My son is the victim. I am a witness. And then the grandbabies, what's now their stepdad and uncle, are the defendants. A third party was used or inserted themselves to be used to tamper and retaliate against a witness.
Yeah, we can't have that.
And so that is my beef in part with that person. My son he continued to act out after that and do stupid stuff and get caught with guns. And he came into town one day and he was driving through downtown and he stopped at a stop sign and happened to look over to his left, and there was his baby mama and her whole family standing on the corner. So he rolls down the window and he goes, I bet you didn't expect to see me, did you, bitch?
Oh my God. Is your son in jail now?
Oh yeah, he's in prison. He doesn't get out until next August. He's been locked up. It'll be 4 years. He'll do 4 years this time. And he got caught with a firearm that day. And he got a lifetime protective order against him for the baby mama. Now, when he comes home, he's got to pass a 10-panel drug screen. He has got to have supervised visitation with his children.
Oh, God.
And then once he does a year of the supervised visitation, then the courts will look at allowing him possibly to have unsupervised visitation.
I hope everything works out. I really do. But I wanted to say, LadyRed, Watch of Crazy has a really good channel. Same thing, Watch of Crazy. LadyRed has a really, really good channel. And I'm serious because I really like going into yours. I like going into
Thank you.
Charlie Sending Love. And
Yes.
Lady Red does a lot of videos, but she also goes live.
Oh, cool. Cool. I'm
So,
always looking for good stuff to watch.
yeah, but
Always.
I
I
think
will
it's a good
definitely
idea.
check out, subscribe.
Yep,
I can't right now because I'm in this streaming thing, but I'll
yep.
go back and subscribe to you.
But let me tell
Awesome.
you, Lady Red, I think it's a good idea about doing the group home thing. And then we
Yes.
have someone who actually basically knows how the system works. But I am really interested in looking into this Emily Pike situation, especially that group home, because several kids have run away from that place before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's very, very common
I
for
have a
that to happen.
question.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
mean, I speak from being a child that was in the system, and so you actually worked within the system. I have a question. This, I know you said that you worked in an all boys home, but did you have an opportunity to witness or see, or did they train you, or do, why do they cut the girls' hair when you get into like the system? Because I had very long hair, and they cut me to like I look like a boy. Like, why do they do that? Do you know? And did they do that in the homes that you were around?
No, they didn't do that. I would suspect maybe um to number one, if it's long and they cut it short, I would think that they do that number one, um to teach proper care of your hair if it's not being done, and
Yeah,
number
that's
two,
true.
to
There
make you
was,
less attractive.
I
yeah,
don't think so.
No
it
No.
was really
humiliation.
demoralizing for me because I don't know. I just remember it being just crazy, and I wonder why they did that to little girls. I mean, they do it to little boys too, but I don't know. I
So
just always wondered that, and
no,
I never had
it's
an
under the
opportunity to
guise
ask
of
anybody.
hygiene and safety, and to promote a uniform appearance. I think it's because they want to show you who's in control. But that's
Yeah.
what they use as, for hygiene. If you came in there, your hair was in good
Hang on one
condition.
second.
That doesn't make any sense to me. And they say it's for safety. So meaning what? You get into a fight, somebody's going to pull your hair and they're going
Mhm.
no, that's a lie that they use.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah,
Probably submission,
and that's what I think
humiliation
it
to
is.
make you submit. And then somebody had asked the question if I get to see my grandbabies.
Yes.
No. Right now, I am not able to see my grandchildren. Um, Hopefully that will change in the future. There was a time that I was completely blocked. Um, Sorry.
That's
There
okay.
was a time that I was completely blocked from the grandbaby's mom's Facebook page for about a year and a half after that third party got involved. Um, and then it's been almost a year ago. Uh, I was unblocked. So I've actually gotten to see more recent pictures of
Okay.
them. So
How
that's a
far do they
step.
live from you?
5 minutes.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's going to work out, but I really want you to take a look at this Lisa Richard. I don't know if you're on TikTok or not, but there are videos.
Yes.
You,
I'll have
you,
to
you can go to
look at
Lady
it.
You
Red's channel.
literally
You
can
can
just
go,
Google her. You can Google Lisa
yep.
Richard for
You
real.
can go to Chantel Gucci's channel. You can go to I have some stuff up,
Yeah,
but
I
not
saw
as
some
much
stuff
as
that
they
you
do.
had done on it.
Yep.
So, and yeah, I'll definitely go look into it, and I
And
would
check
love
out
to.
Simply Sophie too, because she covers Lori Jones. She has videos from when she was on Facebook. I
Mhm.
mean, there is so stuff that's happening on TikTok has actually moved to YouTube.
Oh,
Yeah, and she's not happy about that at all.
Nope, she's not. And she keeps saying she doesn't watch YouTube, but she does because she makes comments of stuff that's on Mickey Mouse fan. I think she
mhm.
knows about Mickey Mouse and she knows about Simply Sophie. She doesn't realize how many other people post her videos and how many people cover her.
Wow,
She is
that's
an
wild.
unfit mother. She has shown it. This woman was on TikTok begging for $1.25 for toilet paper. So
Oh
I
my
made a
gosh.
post one day. I said, "Hey guys, could you give me $1.25 for toilet paper? Oh, and if you can see fit, I need $10 for a hoagie because that's Lisa Richard and $10 for smokes."
Oh goodness. Yeah, it's sad. I will tell you that that's one
Yes, damn
thing,
it, Mandy.
just because of I know how the system works, and um I, there was a time, that in the very beginning, before I was really aware of how CPS operates, that there was a situation where I did contact CPS about my grandchildren's mother, something she had done, and just it was totally not right.
I've done that
And
before. Look, I've done that
and
before.
yeah, and it's crazy that now, um because I'm so much more aware, like it would have to be something serious
Well, I did it before because she was leaving her daughter to go out to
alone.
party, which she's not my granddaughter, but she was my son's stepdaughter. They were dating.
Yeah.
And she would leave this little girl everywhere when she wants to
Oh.
go out. My son was working overseas. And I used to tell her, bring her to me. You don't know these people.
Yep.
So I reported her because she would go out and party and leave this little girl with people she had no idea who they were for 2 and 3 days. And she
Wow.
still had to stop that. But again, um, I don't. A friend of mine used to work for CPS. She was a social worker. She would go. And so I know it takes a lot for them to remove a child. They just
Uh-huh.
don't go and remove that child. It
Right.
has to be something seriously going on in that home. So, and then a lot of times, if the parents won't let you in, you would have to call a cop. That doesn't work. You can't go in. They have to get a judge to sign a
Uh-huh.
warrant. Once CPS shows up at your house with that paper in hand, that child will be removed. There
Yeah.
is no ins and outs about it. But Lady Red was discussing she was in a home. That is something I did not know about. I've never heard you speak about that on your channel unless I missed it. But that's an interesting story on its own. And there's so much that we can discuss
I
here.
was adopted when I was 7 and removed from my home when I was 4.
Oh my
Wow.
God. But there's so much we can discuss here on YouTube with what's going on with all of the stuff and all of the fighting and stuff, and the drama to me is just crazy.
Yeah.
It is
That's why,
really
Heidi,
crazy.
that is basically that's the underlining core reason of why I go at Lisa Richard and why I might jump on Lori as well, because I want them to know, like, I try to be a voice, like an adult voice for the children, because they have no idea. And I know, I believe maybe that's just my ego, but she had said something like, you don't know how my children feel, or there's people saying that they know how my children feel. I'm not saying I know exactly how her children feel, but I know how I felt. And so that is why, that's why I constantly go at Lisa to try to reflect back, like, try to give a voice to her for her
Well,
kids.
we know how her youngest son feel. He used to tell her, "Get the fuck off." I mean, this is the way he's
Yeah,
talking. "Get the fuck off of TikTok. I'm hungry.
What?
Get off now."
but
Lori
that was
Jones
his
kids.
anger. You
Yep.
know what I mean?
Lori Jones
Wow.
kids have asked her over and over again. Were her oldest.
Yeah.
Stop putting her business out there. Stop speaking about her. But
And
she
they do
doesn't.
it all the time. They put everything out and use
No,
it for money grabs.
this
Yeah.
woman actually told the story of her having this boyfriend, and he had a thing for her daughter and he was going to kick them out. She sent this little girl in the room while this guy sat in the chair and masturbated so they can have a place to stay.
Oh, indeed.
She also had sex with a boyfriend or some guy who she and put the girls in the bathroom so she can do her business. She also had sex with her first cousin. She was in a relationship with her first cousin, and she keeps saying it was when she was in addiction. No, you were not in addiction. You carried on a relationship. You got pregnant with twins, and you had a relationship with your first cousin.
That's who the twins are by?
Well, the twins died.
Oh.
But yeah, she was in a relationship with her first cousin.
Wow. You know,
This
and
is how
I'll tell
sick
you,
this woman is.
something else too. There is a gentleman out there. His name is Othello Johnson. I don't know if you ever watched Too Strong.
No.
On YouTube. Okay. So they did, and I did a review of his video and stuff. But he's a gentleman whose son was removed from the home and put into CPS custody and was sold.
Sold?
Yes, in CPS custody. And he said that he
Sounds like
wrote this
Owen and
letter.
Orson West. Okay.
Yeah, he wrote this letter to RFK Jr. just recently and was talking about how, when kids are removed from their home and placed into CPS custody, they have a right to due process. Within 72 hours, they should be in court before a judge or magistrate with a representative for their due process.
But the kids, they need to have an attorney that speaks for them.
That's not happening.
A guardian
It's not, and it hasn't.
litem. Yeah, a guardian ad litem is what it's called.
And because it's not happening the way that it's supposed to, there are 4 top supervisors at DHHS that have the ability to sign off, and 4 of them have to do it, for a child to be sold to the elite.
Not sold. Don't say sold.
$250,000 and up.
I'm done.
I'm not saying
I'm
that
done.
happened to me, but I will say that from the ages of 4 to 7, I remember multiple times being put on an airplane by myself and flown across state lines. Like, I don't remember a
Flown
lot of
across
it,
state
but
lines for what, LadyRed? What were you flown across?
I went to Minnesota one time and was in like this weird hospital thing where I was being tested and doing all this weird stuff. And then I got to see my brother. They sent my brother to another state completely. He never was adopted. There's some weird shit. And that's what I'm saying. Like, they do all kinds of things to children in the system. I should have never been flown across state lines. I was the state.
A ward of the state.
I was a ward of the state, but not of the nation. They were flying me all over the place. And I was a child by myself in the airplane. I remember that because that was scary as hell.
Well, I
It
know
was
my
really
sister used
scary.
to fly to Kansas by herself when when she would go visit my aunt, but she was like 10 years old, and even my grandkids, but they're sitting right there with the stewardesses. But I don't understand, you're in CPS custody. Why are they flying you all over the place?
Well, and that's and I get that. And that is a well-rounded child that has a stable, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
that is a different situation. I was a traumatized child
Oh
already.
my God.
And they're flying me all over the place. Like, I wasn't in the right mind to be even doing that. Like, it was crazy. And you look back at all of that stuff, or I look back at all that stuff now, and I'm like, what the hell were they doing? Like,
Have you
seriously, what were they doing?
okay, do you have a relationship with your brother now?
Yeah. And I
Oh,
verified
good.
all this with him, and he has the same questions. We went out to, okay, there was a doctor, and I'll get the, because man, there's supposed to be a book about it's crazy. I don't have all of the details because once he starts talking about it, I shut him down because it's really creepy. But there's like this doctor, and I believe he was in Pennsylvania. I could have the state wrong because I was a child, okay? But he had this theory that you could rebirth somebody through a sleeping bag, and it was like you were being suffocated in a sleeping bag and you had to like make your way out through, and then you would be born into like these people's arms that really loved you. It
Yep.
was very crazy.
But do you know that's how that young girl died in a rebirthing method? That was like 3 years ago. I did a story on that. But that's what I'm saying about Lori. This young child, this young girl, young lady has been gone for a month. She has not gone to see her. She's not made any attempts to do anything she needs to get them back, even when the stepfather was given guardianship. She hasn't done anything to get them back. She doesn't care. She has the mentality of a 14-year-old, maybe a 12-year-old, not even 14, because they know right from wrong. But
that's terrible.
This is, and I'm going to look at this rebirthing since you brought that up. I did a story on that about 3 years ago about this girl that was killed in this rebirthing process. And they were in this church. And that's what they said, because she was adopted. Get this, she was adopted. And there was no connection with her adoptive mother. So they wanted to do the rebirthing process so there can be a connection. And this young kid died, and they found her. They wrapped her up and put her in the park.
What?
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Well, see, so that's what was going on. And then at that time, see, my brother had a foster home that he stayed with for, like a majority of the time. And that's who was, so they went to my adopted parents and said that they wanted to do this book and study with my brother and I and this doctor. And my adopted parents said no. But his foster parents said yes. And he went through that. Yeah.
Excuse me.
But I can't get the name. I'll get the name of the
Okay.
doctor. I guess there's a
Please
book
get
about
it
it
to
and
me.
everything. I
Yeah.
didn't know any of it.
Please get it to me.
I'll
Because
get his name. I know it's
yep, and I'm
traumatic
gonna
for
look at
him,
it because
but
I wrote it down, and I need to find out where was that story at about this young girl, because she had gone on a field trip, and they were trying to blame these 3 boys that found her in the park, and then they found out about the rebirthing, and she had suffocated on her own vomit from what they were doing. They zipped her up and they kept trying to push her out. And then they just dumped her in the park to be found. Nobody ever called for help or anything else.
That's crazy.
So that's what I'm saying there. But LadyRed, I really want to know who this doctor is. And
I want to say it's a male doctor in
okay.
Pennsylvania, but
But
I'll reach out
now
to him
I
and see.
understand more about how you feel about this whole Lisa situation and how this whole Lori thing is. But you see parents on TikTok, and I'm serious. I did a premiere this morning of this woman. Her name is Candace Randall. Her daughter was being molested by her step grandfather, and she got the call from her paternal grandmother to say she had walked in and caught her husband molesting her grandchild.
Oh my gosh.
I'd have killed him.
So that's the premiere I did this morning. But TikTok keeps taking her story down. So when I ran across it this morning, I recorded it and I put it out on YouTube. They keep taking it down.
Of course.
Yeah. So yes, and there was a story done on SVU based on what happened to that young girl. They did that episode on SVU. They definitely did, and it's a true story. But
I
I'm
know it
telling you,
happened. I mean, it happened to my brother. He told me it was horrible.
yep, I'm telling you, these kids, like there's this young girl, Allie, who comes on and will say all this stuff, how she was sold to this Arab prince and how she was
Tory Outlaw.
involved. Yeah, and how she was involved with the P. Diddy stuff. Now, some
Yeah.
of the things I do believe she's telling the truth on, some of the things she's exaggerating on. But when I'm listening to the stories of what happened in these foster or in CPS custody and how these kids disappear out the system and no one knows where they're at, that's why I asked you, LadyRed, if you and your brother have a relationship now. So you guys have found each other. And
I found all of the family. It's a very weird So my brother found me once when the minute I turned 18, and then it's very strange. And then I just met my birth mom a couple years ago, and
Okay. And did she tell you
it's
why she gave you guys up?
it's a long story. So like I have like the weirdest, craziest biological family. So like on my dad's side, they're all cops. Like my grandpa was a county sheriff for a number of years, elected county sheriff. My uncles were the capital city, I don't captains. I don't. They were all police, and then on my mom's side, they were all outlaws. Like
Oh,
seriously.
I'm sorry.
So
Oh,
they
my
did
God.
not get along, and she says
The
that my
Montagues and the
grandpa.
Capulets. Okay.
Yeah, so she says that my grandpa chased her around and basically until they got us. But that's not really the truth because I was a twin and my twin died during all of this. Like
Oh
we
my
were
God.
severely neglected. And like how I'm glad that you spoke up for your granddaughter or grandchild, whoever being left behind while they went out because that's what my mom would do.
Yeah, but
She
it
would,
wasn't my yeah, it was my son's girlfriend's daughter. But
okay.
still,
But
yeah,
yeah,
it's
that's
my
what she would
grandson's
just
sister. Yes.
she would leave us in a house full of H users, needle users, and it was crazy. it was
Oh
it
my
was
God.
a it was an incredibly abusive, nasty situation. So I do have contact, but I chose not to. The minute that
Yeah.
I started trying to build a relationship with her, she
Yeah.
immediately went to the infant in my family and started to talk to my sons. They're not married, so the baby's mama. I don't,
I was
um,
gonna ask you if you had a
and saying
relationship
like
with.
you can move in with us, with
Oh,
me. I will take care of the baby.
No,
And
no,
it creeped me out. And I'm like,
no.
you need to back off. You are not getting your hands on my grandchildren. Like this is the family I built. I built this. Like
that's
you
right.
need to go. So yeah, we don't talk.
Yeah, so I'm sorry. The crystal that Lisa screams at, that's the crystal that flew to Pennsylvania, right? When they were doing that rehab scam again.
Yeah, I believe they're the same people. I
She keeps saying they're not, but they are. And let me tell you, Crystal sends her money. I don't believe Crystal flew there specifically to get Lisa. I think Crystal was on a layover in Pennsylvania. I don't think she went there to take Lisa anywhere. That was a scam. And I keep remembering how they were all, oh, Lisa, we're so proud of you. And the whole time I'm sitting there going, this bitch ain't going nowhere. She
I'm
likes
definitely
her
going to
crap
have to
too
look
much.
into this. It sounds interesting for sure.
I'm
She
telling
even
you.
called it a hustle. She called it the rehab. She called it a hustle. That's how the song Rehab Hustle came about because she
Oh,
called it
Lord.
that.
These
Yeah,
people are crazy. Ladies, I hate to drop, but
yeah,
I've
I
got
gotta
to.
go too. But
Miss
go ahead.
Lady,
Thank you so much, ladies. It
thank you
was a
so much.
pleasure.
Miss Lady Red, it was a pleasure getting to meet you. And
It
I hope
was
to see you again real soon.
Lady Red is a
likewise.
sweetheart. And you go check out her channel. Her voice
I
is
am.
this is Lady Red with WTF Radio. I'm like, go girl.
I love it. I love it. All right. Well, you ladies have a great day, chat. I hope you
Thank
all
you for
have a
coming up
blessed day as
You
watching
well.
too.
Crazy and sharing your
Thanks for having
story.
me.
All
Yes,
right,
ma'am.
honey. But
Have a
Lady
great
Red,
day.
I will be looking into hi honeybee. I will be looking into this group home situation and the fact that you were in the system for 3 years, 4 to 7, and then you were adopted.
Mhm.
Um, I do believe what you said about them sending you all over the place. And I'm sure that happens a lot. We just don't hear about it.
Yeah, it's weird, and I guess what bothers me most about it is I just have memories of going and then of some of being like when I got there, but I don't remember most of it. And I don't like that. But, anyways, thank you for letting
No
me up. It
problem,
was a
sweetie.
pleasure meeting everybody. And I'll be by again.
Yep. Thank
Thank you
you.
so much. Bye
Yep.
bye.
Bye. You guys follow Lady Red. Get to know Watch Your Crazy. They really have good channels. Charlie Sending Love. I know she does morning coffee as well. And then she goes live during the day as wasn't Big Gold Cole engaged to step. Her ex-best friend. Yes. Yes. But I'm gonna go. I need to change the time for my live today from 6 o'clock. Shit. It's gonna be 4:15 Eastern. I need to run. I need to go take care of some stuff so I can be back. And then I have an appointment this evening at 6 o'clock. Yes, you got it, 6 o'clock. Got to get my nails done. I really appreciate each and every one of you guys. And have a great day. And I will see you. And if you didn't watch Savages Live yesterday, go check out Savages Live. Love you guys. I'll be back. And thank you for the super chats. I really appreciate it. I'm going to say thank you to, I need to go look and see who it was that gave me super chats. Gwen has been a member for 40 months. Drea, 40 months. Ambrius gave a $10 super chat. Don't Say Much gave, she gave 5 memberships, and Scotland gave a $10 super chat as well. I appreciate all of you guys. Have a great day, and I will see you later. Bye.